Welcome to the Awakening Podcast. You'll find all our episodes on awakeningpodcast.org. Another episode with my good friend Esteban Cupthro for another perspective. For those watching on BitChute, YouTube, and Rumble, he's got a nice picture there. Be kind, be fair, be honest, be true, and all that. All of these things will come back to you. Always remember what goes around comes around. And as always, we're going to tell you what we're going to discuss before we start discussing it. The news, Kabul running out of water, MK Ultra, Penguine Robots in Metro, vaccine damages, UK an emergency alert is due. AI companions, key AI statistics, and America's AI action plan. The Good News Caravan, plastic from Catus, gold poop, kind Waitress, and Walmart Heiress opens medical school with a focus on preventative medicine. Health, alternative health sites obstruction, which light bulb should I use, and plants repelling mosquitoes. And for inspiration, Kerala, woman rescuing a dying forest, the yielding warrior, and a quote. Back to the news. Kabul running out of water. What's happening there?
Yeah, for the people who don't know, Kabul is the capital of Afghanistan, and it says a dubious statement. It's on the brink of becoming the first modern city to completely run out of water. According to the UN, humanitarian organizations, and they said the situation is unprecedented, and that might be that nearly 6 million people, so there are a lot of people living there in Kabul, in Afghanistan, now face severe water shortages. The crisis has reached a critical inflection point, with experts warning that without immediate intervention, Kabul's groundwater sources could be entirely depleted by 2030. This would potentially displace up to 3 million people and trigger a humanitarian catastrophe of global proportions. Yeah, well, they're talking about 3 million people. Maybe they have to leave out or whatever. I don't know how they calculate it, but it's 6 million people there, or whatever. No water. That's terrible. Yeah, and Afghanistan is not a cool country with a lot of rain. So this has a huge, huge impact. Yeah. So, really,
Just thoughts on that as you say it. One, I know they can manipulate the weather, so they can do it for good and bad. Have they been stopping it with all the stuff that they're doing in Afghanistan? I don't know. But a lot of the migrants that are going to all these countries as well, some of them are from Afghanistan. Is it another way for them to actually place more people and saying, hey, this is for the water? That's just throwing it out there. And then sometimes that is legitimate. But if they actually watched our episode from last week, there's ways about capturing the water from the air. So who knows?
yeah, or maybe it's even like we want the people to migrate to countries with water, so we make sure they have no water. So all these things are possible. But anyway, if like this old man, which you can see on the picture, if you're living there and there's no water or you only have a couple of jerry cans, it's horrible.
So, MK Ultra. I had heard about this years ago, and I just find sometimes I'll hear about it, and then I'll see a lot of comments. Most people have never even heard of it, so I just thought I'd cover it. It was a secret CIA program started in the 1950s to develop mind control techniques, especially using drugs like LSD. The goal was to find ways to manipulate people's thoughts and actions, mainly out of Cold War fears. The program ran until 1973 and involved experiments at dozens of universities and institutions, often without the subject's consent. Some of the worst abuses included unwitting drugging. People were secretly given LSD and other substances, causing severe psychological trauma. At least one person, Frank Olson, died after being dosed. I mean, they've hidden all the stuff and burnt it. So, in Canada, patients seeking help for minor issues were subjected to high doses of drugs and extreme psychological treatments, leaving many permanently damaged. Most records were destroyed by the CIA, making it hard to know the full extent of the harm. It's MK Ultra is now famous for its unethical experiments and lasting harm to victims. It has led public outrage, lawsuits, and greater oversight of intelligence agencies. I mean, we've even seen it with the JFK files and everything. I mean, they were kind of claiming that Oswald killed them and, multiple shooters. And so everything they do is dangerous. But also there was Charles Manson. I think most people would have heard Charles Manson. He was part of that because I remember reading a book and they were saying they just kept letting him out of prison and everything. It was all orchestrated. So if you see him in interviews and stuff like that, you say, this guy is insane. I mean, maybe he was normal before that. I don't know, but it was orchestrated by the CIA. So they're still in existence. Do you think that they'd automatically just become good boys? I don't know, but that's scary. There's a lot of stuff like that going on. Not just the Americans doing that, but I mean, when it's public knowledge, it's scary.
Yes, and there are people still alive today who were damaged in this way. Yeah? And I think it's not a standalone thing. It's a precursor to what's happening now with AI, with mobile phones and everything. So don't think is like you said, I think in the 70s, the program stopped and everything stopped. No, they got to another program.
They just hid it.
Yeah. Penguine Robots in the Shenzhen subway. For people who don't know, Shenzhen is one of the largest cities in China. It's actually I'm glad to say, it used to be the tech capital. I don't know whether that's still, but certainly is the manufacturing capital of China. So it's a huge city with millions of people. And they now got these, well, they call it penguin robots. These devices are approximately a meter high, and they're autonomous delivery robots. So they deliver goods in the subway system. And well, in most big cities, when you're in the subway, you go under the ground, but under the ground, there are shops, there are hamburger joints, there are supermarkets, well, you can buy anything, basically. It's a whole city underground. And that's terrible for people, human beings, delivering it, because you drive in with your car, and then you have to go up all these, well, staircases, elevators, whatever, to deliver the goods to the supermarket or somewhere else. Now they have invented these penguin robots who go by themselves. They're totally autonomous, so there's no person with it, and they navigate elevators, they board trains. So you see in the pictures, they're on the train, but they can go in and out of the train. And they can deliver, in this case, supplies to more than 100 7-Eleven stores located within these subway stations. So I think this is really incredible. These things just drive by themselves and they deliver the goods, which I think is good. But the question remains, what does it mean for the people who used to do it before those penguin robots, right? So, and again, the article doesn't mention that, but as you're used to from us, we do. We care about people. So, but still, it's an incredible invention, and it's not a plan. This is working right now.
I've been in Estonia for a month in 2018 and 2022. And as far as I remember, I saw them in 2018. They had robots going around the city delivering food. So even then, and I mean, if I look here now, they've got like the Volt and Bolt with couriers going around. There's like, there's thousands, there's probably millions in the world that are involved in that, and then they're just gone. Their jobs are gone. They're just jobs gone. People that are trying to pay their way through education and everything, if they, don't have finances at home, if the family aren't able to afford it, some of the people, they're students and they're doing that just to pay for their fees. And yeah, that's it's scary. It's taking jobs away. Yeah, this is so I had seen a video on this, and I decided Kayla Pollock, a Canadian woman whose life changed dramatically after receiving the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. So she had previously 2 of the Pfizer's ones, and then the third one she got was this. Shortly after her vaccination, she developed severe neurological symptoms that led to paralysis. Her story, shared through her website and social media, details the rapid onset of her condition, the challenges she faced in the healthcare system, and ongoing struggle for recognition and support. She describes how following her vaccination, she began experiencing numbness and weakness, which quickly progressed to paralysis. She was hospitalized and underwent extensive testing and rehabilitation. Despite her effort and the support of her family, her condition remains largely unchanged, leaving her reliant on a wheelchair and facing significant daily challenges. And like even her bowels, her bowels don't work nowhere, and she's a 10-year-old child. And this is one of the sick things. One of the most striking and controversial aspects of her story is her account of being offered the option of medical assisted in dying MAID, which I covered previously, also known as euthanasia, by Canadian healthcare providers. In Canada, MAID is a legal option for individuals experiencing intolerable suffering due to a grievous and irremediable medical condition. Kayla has spoken publicly about, instead of being offered more comprehensive support and treatment, often she was presented with the possibility of ending her life through euthanasia. This offer deeply affected her and her family, highlighting the emotional and ethical complexities faced by those living with severe life-altering injuries in Canada's healthcare system. So then I started looking at some of the comments from the post of the thing. So I went to our website as well. I seen a video on it, and it was like, and there's a load, but I just decided my son died after Moderna shots at the age of 13. I will help you get your story out. My brother had a blood clot and cardiac arrest after the AstraZeneca and died. He was 51. Nobody cared, and as a family, we were treated as conspiracy terrorists. It's so messed up, and I know because I've been speaking out about this from the very start, how you're attacked and you're labeled from people. Another one, my mom refused a COVID jab, but 2 years later thought a seasonal flu shot would be okay. She was gone a week later, and I think I mentioned it months back about my own mom. She got the flu jab years ago, before even the COVID, and she got extremely ill. She said never again. So I mean, there's a few books out there. Tom Cohn is very good. Finally, I started having ringing ears, visual snow, numbness, swallowing issues, knee buckling, balancing issues, ocular migraines, all started after the shot. So, yeah, I mean, I'm seeing that's just millions of people that have been affected by this. But, yeah. And what she said is with her boyfriend that she said, record everything. And the doctor in the hospital, you don't have a visual, but you can hear him. And he basically said, yeah, we're seeing loads of cases of this after the shot. And of course, do you see that on mainstream or anything? No, because it goes against the narrative. But just be aware. And I mean, I personally know of people in a few countries, in the UK, in Poland, and in Ireland, that have died from the jab, personally. So, and I know most people do. And it's all hush hush, it's all grand. And every single thing I've done about researching jabs, I just say, stop trusting the white coats, go in, read everything. When your baby is born, I know somebody, their baby died after a year and a half after getting a jab. I don't trust any jabs. And that's from a lot of research that I've done. So I advise you do your own research and start, instead of just doing a Google search or a chat GPT search, buy books from people that are experienced. And the further back you go, the better you've chance. The Poison Needle is a very good one, and books by Tom Cohn are very good as well.
It's incredible. There's so much suffering from young people, from old people, from any age, and they're kind of ignored. So it's, but it's happening, folks. So be careful. Be really careful.
This is just one that I thought. I'm always thinking there's always a hidden agenda with things, and there's always something else. So the government has reminded people that an emergency alert is due to be sent to millions of phones across the country in September. This is in the UK. Mobile phone and tablet users across the UK will hear their devices make a loud siren-like sound, something that would allow the UK government to warn of any potential danger to life nearby. How and why will it be done? An emergency alert will be sent to mobile phones as part of the government systems designed to warn the public about emergencies such as severe weather, disasters, or other critical situations. When the alert is sent, comparable mobile phones will emit a loud siren-like sound and vibrate, even if they are set to silent. So if you have a baby, be careful of that. You don't want the baby being woke up by this kind of thing. The alert will also display a message explaining the nature of the emergency and the actions people should take. The purpose of the test is to ensure that the system works properly and that people will know what to expect if an emergency occurs. It helps authorities confirm that the alert can reach as many people as possible. And then previously a similar nationwide emergency alert test was conducted previously where mobile phones across the country received test alerts at a specific time. The process was the same, phones vibrated and everything. I mean, I see it here where they're giving you weather warnings and things like that. But when we know how evil and corrupt the world is, and I mean, I don't know any government that I think has our best interest at heart. Well, what's the end game for this? This could be all a plan and eventually send out stuff, or like they did in 2020, the plan to kind of pretend there's a certain virus flying around. So they have access to do that to your phone, which means they can track everything on your phone as well. If they could just start making your phone, your phone is on silent and now it's going to make a siren sound, that's kind of scary.
Yes, we have that, between quotes, capability in the Netherlands for many years already. So, and we used to have an alarm which goes off each first Monday of a new month. And it used to be, well, in the neighborhood where I lived, there was this big siren on the roof of the school, and then it would be making that noise. Yeah? So this is the digital version of that. When I walk here in Romania, I see these devices still on roofs of buildings. So that's what they're doing. Yeah. So it's like with all of these things, it like you can use it for good because, well, you mentioned Ronnie, that you had today alarms for the weather. That's good because it can be dangerous if when you're going out and there's really floods of rain and everything. That's really good, but you can also use it for everything else. And indeed, I have my phone, everything is silent, whatever. It's like ready to go. Man, it's like huge noise. It's like, it's happening. But this is, like I said, in the Netherlands, we have this already for years and years. So it's
and just a funny one is here where I'm living. There's a fire station just kind of across the road, just up a bit, and they have that siren. It's like the World War siren, and it's annoying because sometimes I'm doing a recording of a podcast and you got this noise. But what I found out is there's volunteers and it's a sign for them to come. But I can't understand why they don't use modern technology and have something like that where the people that are registered, they just get an SMS. Why does everybody have to be? But my brother and his daughter came for Christmas And what I said is, oh no, because that was when things were kind of dodgy with World War. I pretended there was the World War. That's the warning sign. And I had to stop and tell them, like, because I could see panic in their face and they were actually getting very scared because they believed me. Like, so that kind of noise. But can you imagine people that hear that noise? I don't know about it because not every, I mean, I only came across this by accident. I mean, they could send an SMS saying, hey, we're going to do this. Will they do that? I'm not sure. But imagine if you didn't know about that and it's a test, it could scare the shit out of you. You could think the world is ending or there's a nuclear bomb or something like that because everything is fair tactics. And people's hearts, people, could be fairly dangerous.
Absolutely. It's a terrible noise, I tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to basically getting paid for our work. That would be really nice, and we would really appreciate that. Ronnie and myself, we each spend, well, not a day in usually like a day, but a couple of hours here, a couple of hours there, a couple of hours there. We are recording this on Sunday morning, folks. Yeah, when most of you expect are still in bed or having your brunch or breakfast. We had been working all morning. And so together we calculated it's 2 full days. Yeah, 2 full days of work. Well, yeah, so let's say 8 hours times €200. That's what it costs for us to do this, but we're not getting paid. Yeah? So that's why we need these things like Buy Me a Coffee or PayPal or Patreon. Right? Give us a monthly contribution. We would really, really appreciate it because, hey, we need to pay the rent and we need to pay our food. And it's not the case that we make boatloads of money by our videos on YouTube or Rumble and BitChute because most of them are censored. And most of them are censored. We are blocked. We're not put in the algorithm. So it's not that we make 10K a month from our videos. No, we basically make nothing. Zero. So it's good not to be dependent on those guys, but this is something personal. Is like, hey, we're talking to you, our listeners, and we love you and we like you. That's why we're doing this work. But may we ask for a small contribution?
There's a QR code, so you can scan it or go to awakeningpodcast.org/support. AI companions. What's that about?
Well, in this show, I've been talking a lot about legal cases where there was a young man who killed himself after a conversation with an AI companion, and I've been regularly updating things. But now there has been a survey by a company called Common Sense Media, interesting name. They surveyed 1,060 teenagers between 13 to 17 across the US. And it found that around 3 in 4 kids have used AI companions. And these AI companions are defined as emotive AI tools designed to take on a specific persona or character, as opposed to an assistive general use chatbot like ChatGPT, with over half of surveyed teens qualifying as regular users of these AI companions, meaning that they log in to talk to these bots at least a few times per month. Well, I think that's very conservative. Yeah, so it's not that, well, I know some people use ChatGPT and similar tools as companions, but there are specific tools like Character.ai and Replica. They are specifically designing these companion tools. And about 46% of the teens said they mainly turn to them as tools, but around 33%, that's 1/3. 1/3 of these young people said they use these companion tools for social interaction and relationships, including conversation practice, emotional support, role-playing, friendship, or even romantic interactions. So we also been talking about the show about people feeling lonely, whatever. So this is what young people use. They use these companions to solve their loneliness, which is not helping, because I also shared on this series that it can have a very negative effect on these young people. But I'm sure, most of you cannot miss there being cartoons where it used to be when there was, let's say, dinner time, when all the family was together at the table and having a meal together and share the experiences of the day. That's what most people all over the world used to do. But now you see, and then again, they're not only cartoons, it's reality. All the people sitting on the table are watching their phones. See? So they're not talking anymore. They're not companion. And that's why these young people are using these AI companions, which I think is horrible. And it impacts everything, because that makes the case that they are not capable of talking to real friends and human beings and others, because it's like, and these AI companions can have a very, I'm not saying that they have, but they can have a very negative effect. And so that's what this survey, 1/3 of these people are using them really, really as a kind of a friend.
Like, I've heard people were saying a Tinder or some dating app, or where they're kind of interacting with each other using the AI to respond. And I mean, there's probably a lot of cases where they're both doing the exact same thing. They're both responding using the AI. And then when they eventually decide to meet, the wheel is turning, the hamster's dead. They're probably just looking at each other going, you're not who I expected, and vice versa. And even like what we talked prior to recording is, and I've said it a few times, you can't trust AI. People are assuming, oh, it said it, it's true. And I watched like Patrick Bet-Dave and all that. They read it out as if it's gospel. And I keep shaking my head when I see that. There's a few people that do that. You cannot trust it. So many times. And you had an example this morning of 2 different ones. You got 2 different. I'm always doing that. I'm getting kicked off ones, or I play around with a few, and I'm getting just totally different answers. Or I get answers that's biased, that's pushing something. And the worst thing is, most people like that, they just assume that what they're reading and what they've got is gospel, and it's 100% true. And that is extremely dangerous.
Yeah, and if you, like I said, there were between 13 and 17. So they're very young, and they're very, at that age, let's say you can be easily influenced. So that will have an impact on your behavior the rest of your life. So it's extremely dangerous.
So this is just some stats from Ossinger's an article. AI market growth. The global AI market is rapidly expanding, projected to reach 1.8 trillion by 2030. AI adoption is accelerating across industries, with significant investments from private and public sectors. Business adoption, over 35% of businesses are already using AI, and another 42% are exploring its implementation. I would say that's higher, just based on conversations I'm having them with people. AI is mostly commonly used for customer service, data analysis, and automation. Consumer impact. AI powered tools like chatbots and virtual assistants are now part of daily life for millions. 77% of devices today use some form of AI. Workforce and skills. AI is expected to create 97 million jobs by 2025, but also transform or replace many existing ones. I reckon it's taking away, every job that's created by AI is probably taking away at least 100. There's a growing demand for AI-related skills, especially in machine learning, data science, and robotics. 72% of people express concern about privacy and data issues, security with AI. Responsibility, AI development, and regulation are becoming top priorities. AI is being popular applications like recommendation engines, Netflix and Amazon. In other words, they're going, hey, you like this movie, you should like this one. You like this book, you should like that one. Facial recognition and home devices. It's reshaping industry, creating new opportunities, and becoming deeply integrated into daily life. While it brings efficiency and innovation, it also raises important questions about ethics, privacy, and the future of work. So, same thing. Pros and cons, but I think the damage is going to be, I mean, we're already seeing it. Like, it's, there's so many jobs that are being taken.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this graph is that I'm not sure whether I can say it, but my impression is that the industries where a lot of people are working are the ones with the highest percentages. Yeah, business and legal services is 100% people oriented. Manufacturing, not so much. Yeah, but in finance and healthcare, it's all people. So the smaller ones, well, semiconductor, there are hardly any people. It's just automated factories. Yeah, retail also more and more. Media and entertainment, they've already. That's one of the first industries who laid off people like copywriters. So it's you can see industries with a lot of people are being targeted.
I mean, you even mentioned about the banks in the previous issue that they've already started. And I mean, healthcare. I've had a few episodes talking about that. The different things can be pro, but at the same time, they'll eventually start getting rid of a lot of the staff as well.
Yeah, and what I mentioned today, this penguin robot, that's an impact on transportation. So, and on top of that, the American government has introduced something which is called America's AI Action Plan. Well, they have been good and they're still good at their marketing thing, but it's really terrible because it wants to ensure that the US is dominant in AI. Well, I think they're no longer dominant in AI because, like I also shared before, most of the worldwide top universities are Chinese. Yeah, a lot of these articles are Chinese. I think it's more catch up than cementing their dominance. But the plan is to turbocharge their innovation capacity, build cutting edge infrastructure, meaning data centers, right? And lead globally, ensuring that American workers and families thrive in an era of AI. We are moving with urgency to make this vision a reality. So they're pumping billions of dollars again in this program to further roll out this AI. But again, nothing's mentioned about people's jobs or how we are reskilling or retraining people. Nothing. And there's so much money involved in these data and does everything else. Is that now I previously mentioned some examples about the Netherlands where there's problems with electricity for these data centers and the electricity for you and me. This has become a global problem now. It's like these data centers, they consume so much electricity that there really isn't enough for average citizens. So, but they're pushing it through. Again, it's like someone else has said, we are already in a tyranny. We're no longer in a democracy. In a democracy, we would discuss this in parliament, in government, in work groups where we would discuss is like, hey, we plan to roll out these things. Do we agree, or is there something else we need to do? But like in the US, it's like a dictatorship. You're like, hey, we're going to do this. That's it. No discussion, nothing else, no approval, no other consideration. That's it. It's been written by two guys who were not appointed officially by the government. They were not chosen democracy officials. They were just, well, I know one of them, David Sachs, and there's another guy. They were just friends of the establishment and say, oh, you write this on. Okay, fine, boom, we're going to do this. What about the democracy? I think already there is no democracy anymore. We start to live in a dictatorship, and this is one of the examples. And you can imagine that this starting in the US, this will roll out across many, many more countries, I expect.
The fear I have is, well, with this is like the biggest chip manufacturers, Taiwan and America, making all kind of pacts with them and doing different things. And obviously there's China trying to take control of that. And it's like, if this is the difference, something's going to happen there. And that's scary.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Plastic from cactus.
Good news, Caravan. A friend of mine sent me this picture, which in Mexico, well, in Mexico, obviously you got a lot of cacti, and they're using cactus juice into biodegradable plastic, and meaning that if you put it in the soil, it will disappear, and it will disappear very soon. I think so. We in the last show, Ronnie mentioned, in a lot of time. I think this is really, really excellent development. So it's something which need to be supported, I think.
Not sure what's the shelf life of that, but I was involved with a company here in Poland, an Irish company, and they had biodegradable stuff as well, but it was breaking down on the shelves. So it depends on how long it can last for. That's the other side of things. It's brilliant. It's fantastic because obviously nobody wants to see all this plastic in the seas and everything. But if they're using it for holding things, plus it's probably a million times healthier than a lot of the stuff because all the plastic is leaching into the food. So even if it doesn't last as long, but if they use that instead of normal plastic, I mean, I'm assuming it's a lot healthier.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So scientists have discovered a fascinating bacterium that can poop gold after consuming toxic metals. The bacterium Cupravidus metalljorans was found to thrive in highly toxic environments filled with metals such as gold, copper, and cadmium. What makes this discovery extraordinary is that when this bacterium interacts with these metals, it transforms them into gold nanoparticles as a waste product. This process is called the biomineralization, where the bacterium uses its natural metabolic processes to break down toxic metals and convert them into solid gold particles. In simple terms, the bacteria essentially eat the metals and then poop out gold. This discovery could revolutionize both gold extraction and environmental cleanup. Traditional gold mining methods are harmful to the environment, often involving toxic chemicals like cyanide. However, using bacteria to extract gold in eco-friendly, sustainable, and could potentially help in removing toxic metals from polluted environments. This process could also lead to innovative ways to harvest precious metals from e-waste, which often contains valuable but toxic materials. It's a brilliant example of how nature can provide solutions to modern environmental problems. So, yeah, not sure where we can buy some of them, but let's have a greenhouse of them, build our gold supply.
Yeah, but also like on these, how do you call them, these waste dumps. Yeah, like you mentioned this, the e-waste, which is huge because everybody's got computers, old mobile phones, printers, hair dryers. Everything is all of these toxic metals inside of it. Yeah, and now it's being dumped on the heap, or they put it in the ship and they ship it to Bangladesh and say, have fun.
And they burn it to just extract the metals, and that's serious toxins to the environment.
Now they're young kids who walk these waste heaps, and then they try to collect it, but I think these kids won't live to be 15 or so. Like, if something like this can be rolled out and spread all over the globe, I think it's huge. It's really huge. Here's a nice story about a waitress a 25-year-old waitress, Kathy Miller. She had an experience with a couple who was dining in a restaurant, and after the couple had eaten and whatever, and they had the bill, and you see it to the right, a picture of the note of the bill. I'm gonna read it because the couple who had been eating there and she was serving, they really like it because it was the couple's first outings in losing their 27-year-old daughter, and apparently that waitress offered them a precarious gift, an opportunity to smile again. So this was the first time that the couple went out again after losing their 27-year-old daughter. And on the note, it said, "Thank you for your wonderful service. Our 27-year-old daughter passed away unexpectedly about 5 weeks ago, and today is the first day I've been able to get my wife out to enjoy a real meal. Thank you for making us smile. You will never know what it means to us." So I think this is incredible. It's like it helped those folks, but it also like is the waitress, and she didn't know this. She only noticed afterwards. So apparently she was very nice and kind, but she didn't know the occasion why this couple was having this dinner. So I think it's beautiful, and it shows what I'm trying to push is that we really should try to be kind to each other.
Yeah, the power of words, without a doubt. Yes.
The power of kindness.
So, Alice Walton, the Walmart heiress and one of the world's wealthiest women, has launched a new medical school in Bentonville, Arkansas, with a bold mission to address what she calls the broken American healthcare system by focusing on preventative and holistic care rather than just treating illness. The Alice L. Walton School of Medicine, which welcomed its inaugural class of 48 students in July 24, represents a significant shift in how future doctors are trained and how healthcare might be delivered in the United States. Her vision for the school is deeply personal. After battling a bone infection and enduring multiple surgeries over more than a decade, she became acutely aware of the limitations of the current sick care model, which often prioritizes treating disease over maintaining wellness. This experience inspired her to create a medical school that would rethink and re-envision what the education of the next generation of healthcare workers will be like. The Alice Walton School of Medicine is unique in that its whole health approach, rather than focusing solely on the science of disease, the curriculum integrates traditional medical training with lessons in nutrition, mental health, lifestyle, and the social determinants of health. Students are taught to see patients as whole people, not just as a set of symptoms or diagnosis. This philosophy is reflected in the school's campus design, which blends nature, art, and wellness, including features like rooftop gardens to create an environment that supports both learning and well-being. Admission to the school is highly competitive, with less than 3% of applicants accepted. Notably, a third of the inaugural class hails from Arkansas, reflecting Walton's commitment to improving healthcare access in her home state and beyond. The school's founding is backed by her immense fortune, with a $250 million donation, helping to ensure that the institution has the resources to innovate and attract top talent. Ultimately, the school aims to produce doctors who are not only skilled in treating disease, but are also equipped to help patients prevent illness and lead healthier lives. By emphasizing preventative, holistic care and the importance of lifestyle, Walton hopes to inspire a new generation of physicians who can help transform the American healthcare system from one that reacts to sickness to one that proactively fosters wellness. So, especially with somebody so wealthy, because I knew she was like an outcast of the family. I'd seen stuff on that, and it's like that is great. I mean, if this starts spreading across, that's what's needed in healthcare.
I'm totally impressed by this, and I'm like, oh, I want to be part of that. Yeah, yeah, and it's so much needed. It's so much needed, but it's like you said, it's like this is a lady of the establishment, and well, I think her fortune must be in the hundreds of billions. So these people have influence when they say we're gonna do something. So that's why I'm extremely impressed and surprised, because like it's not something you expect from someone from the establishment. Yeah? And that's why I hope and I think it will have a huge ripple effect. And I'm a bit disappointed that she said this, like the American healthcare system. This is needed all over the world. Huh? And hopefully this can be, well, like you throw a stone in the pond and then you create that ripple effect. This is a stone in the pond. And I hope this will ripple across all of the world, because this is what's needed everywhere. The word used, I'm using this word in many interviews. I get, I call the healthcare system a sick cap system, and then people are like, "What are you saying?" But this lady has the saying, but you only start to do these things, unfortunately, when you get a negative experience yourself, and that's what you just shared with us, and unfortunately that's the case. But this is not someone who just says, well, I'm okay now and everything's fine. It's like, no, I want to do something about it. So I really I encourage wealthy people or whatever all over the world who hopefully might be listening to this show, is like, we need these initiatives all over the world, because then things will start to change.
The thing is, which results from that, because a lot of the time, the sick care system, let's call it, they do a lot of stuff that actually does more damage. But when people are getting cured and are healthy and happier, they tell their friends see it. And I think eventually insurance companies, because they're loyal to the dollar as well. And they go, yeah, you go here, you get healed. You go there, you're going to be sick for life. So I think just the consumer will start building this, which in turn will stop feeding the evil ones and make growth for this.
Beautiful initiative. Thanks for sharing, Ronnie. Really, really important.
Health alternative health sites obstruction. What's that?
Well, this is a picture of a Dutch newspaper, so don't start screaming you cannot read it. The heading says that a salesperson who's selling honey is not allowed to say that honey is good for your health. Let me repeat that. Someone who's selling honey is not allowed to say that honey is good for your health. Because, well, I wrote this week a blog post about this, but I'm not doubling the thing, because there's an extra thing which popped up actually. But this is an EU legislation where all the all health claims which are done by, I would say, alternative health people, like the honey guy, or someone who has curcuma, or using cayenne pepper for your headache, what I'm currently doing. It like all of these things, they're not allowed to put on the product, on their marketing, on the website, everything that it helps with a certain disease, or that it makes you healthier. That's no longer allowed. So that means a lot of these folks will lose their business, and are losing their business, because a lot of these products are using their health. So this between quote, nicely ties into this Walton lady who says, hey, we need something about nutrition and lifestyle and health. Well, like this man who's a beekeeper, honey has been, I think, for thousands of years, people are using honey for their health. It's I read a book recently, is that I think it was in Georgia, the country Georgia is like most beekeepers that are in their 90s. So it's extremely healthy. But it's like all of these products. It's like you're no longer, the EU has said, no, you're not allowed to share these health benefit. That is only for medicine. And on top of that, that's why I'm sharing it here, because I read this article a few days later after we published the blog post, is that Google has a team of 16,000, well, let's call it quality evaluators, who make sure that websites who have a dissenting content are hard to find. So that means that people like this guy who sells honey, it makes them impossible for a site to be found. That's what they intentionally do at Google. So this makes it not only an EU thing, but the global thing. It's like there are many, many products, and we all are using it basically every day to help with us to stay healthy, to become healthy. Now, Google helps you to not to be found. And already 1/3 of the website visitors they lost because they get less traffic because it's manipulated so they don't get traffic. So I think this is horrible. Yeah. And this needs to be changed. And I'm coming back to what I said in the beginning. Like, this is dictatorship. This is not democracy. In a democracy, you want everybody to say who has proven health benefits. You should be able to talk about it. And now they're prevented from doing that. And these folks will they'll lose their business, they'll lose their jobs. And we lose our health because the traditional health pharma system is not helping you, like this Alice Walton just said. It's really terrible.
Like this podcast is going for 5 years, and from the start, from first guests that I've had, there was a lot of them that were doing alternative natural health and everything, and websites were removed, and lots of people that didn't know. And even there was one guy, and he had natural products that he was selling on Amazon, and then Amazon started selling it themselves, and so he was making a very good income, and then they just push him away, and then they start selling it themselves. So it's like people don't even realize these things till it happens yourself. And I mentioned it going back about Poland, about they're attacking the bee farmers, and then I see it in Portugal. The chickens, they were attaching the eggs, and it's good for you. They attack. And all I say is talk to your local farmer, and stick together. Because when someone is fighting this battle on their own, they feel like there's something wrong with them. They can't do anything. And you have idiots that just comply and do what they're told to do because they're loyal to the dollar without even realizing they're destroying their own humanity and their future generations and friends and family because they're too thick to understand this. So all I say is just stick together and stand with it. And you have to learn about sovereignty, because when they're attacking you and all this crap, they're always writing to you as the all capital because they're treating you as the corporate entity. And don't ever accept that. You just say, that's not me. I'm a living soul. Trust me, the power of that. You need to investigate. I cover it in a few of the shows, just write sovereignty in my shows, or common law and things like that. When you start doing that, they can't do anything. And I've done this myself personally with a few different organizations. If I knew this years ago, I wouldn't have went through a lot of the hardship that I have. So anyone that's experiencing attack, whatever you're doing, business, if you're trying to do natural, the minute they're writing to you, the city or the government, they will 99%, maybe even 100%, they go, Mr. All capitals, or just all capitals. That is not you. That's the corporate entity. Might sound a bit hairy-fairy. Please go in, research it. You can go to my show and you'll see it. Check BB Backus, Peter Wilson, Peter Stone, and it's really worth researching.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because this works, I would say, twice in a negative way. It doesn't help the consumers who are missing healthy products, and it's getting these small entrepreneurs to lose their business. We really need to not go along with this and have a different approach, like Ronnie just said.
So I've touched on bulbs a few times, so I just thought this is the CFC. So this was the first one that they came out. We had the incandescent light bulb first. So those watching, that's the one on the right, the normal one, the little filter going across. Then they said, oh, they're bad. They're bad. These things are good. They last 10 years. They're brilliant. I remember at the time we had a commercial property. It was in Poland when I came across this. So I changed all the bulbs. Nothing lasts for 10 years. Within a year or 2 years, they were all going. Later, I found out really dirty energy. And also when they break, they're toxic. So if you step on it or anything, you can be poisoned. It's extremely dangerous. Then they came along and they said, LED bulbs are the thing to go. They're way better. They're energy A rating and everything. This is all EU initiative. So I presume it's all over the world as well. But it's really EU that I'm conscious of it. And they were saying, these are very good. I mentioned it in a previous show. They actually flash. You have to buy anti-flash ones. And how you do, you get your phone and you put your phone in slow motion. And it's like, what? And it affects you. It's very bad for you. When you check the energy levels and everything, it's all dirty energy. So I said, I want to get the normal bulbs. Can you type in incandescent bulbs? No, they're kind of like, they're not allowed because they're bad. They're called like heat bulbs or something like that. So this doesn't affect your energy and everything. These are the ones we had when we were younger. They're way safer. They're way better. And you're listening to EU plebs that think that, hey, this is better for you, this is better for you. They're liars. They're affecting your health. They're doing nothing for you. They're destroying your country. It might seem like a small thing to do, but I would highly encourage you, change the light bulbs that you have. Go away and do a test like I've just said, that you're actually just doing slow motion and you'll see it flickering. And it actually have to say non-flicker. I mean, I only found that out this year. I was like, that's insane. So what I say is, all these little things that we're talking about, all the little berries and stuff that we're mentioning, they all it's a compound effect. You can say, I couldn't be bothered. The minute you learn about something like that, that's not going to break the bank. Like they were, I don't know, 50 cents in euros, like two slots of 50 per bulb. So, just start changing. Get rid of them straight away. Just get rid of them because they're not good. They're not healthy. Rant over.
Well, it hopefully created a light bulb moment with the people who are listening. Here's another simple thing what you can do. Well, in Northern Hemisphere it's summer. Yes, there are also, there's here a lot of rain, so there will be mosquitoes. They're simple. Instead of spraying poison, DDT, and all kinds of stuff which people put in the skin to prevent the mosquitoes, but that's poison. It's chemical. It's creating cancer and everything else. Use plants like citronella grass, marigold, catnip, eucalyptus, basil, etc. Yeah, you can use those plants, and mosquitoes don't like them, so you won't have any mosquitoes. So simple solution, good for, they look nice, and it's better than all the chemicals which we put on our body and impact us. These plants are healthy for ourselves as well.
Another one that's not on your list is you have organic cider vinegar. Just put some of it in with water and spray it on you. Keeps them away. They don't like it. It's simple, and you can even take a small bottle away. So if you're going, on a sun holiday, because sometimes you might dab in it, especially if you're in Ireland, you would be like, no mosquitoes. Then you go to Turkey or Spain or something like that. Little bottle, because you're allowed to have the 100 ml, or if you're in a suitcase, you can have a big one. And just spray yourself with it. And yeah, it definitely works. So, bit of inspiration for us.
Yes, I read about this initiative of women in Kerala. Kerala is the most southern state in India, and there were 20 local women. They are restoring the rainforest, restoring from the roots up, restoring from storms and other people doing things. So at the Guru Pula Botanical Sanctuary, they've nurtured over 2,000 native plant species and brought back birds, frogs, and even signs of tigers with no formal training, only care. So that's what a group of 20 local people did. They restored a complete rainforest. And they're not trained, they didn't go to university or whatever. They just care about their environment. And a rainforest which was almost completely destroyed, they rebuilt it. And now, like I said, birds and species and everything are coming back. So another example of things which you and I can do. Well, I'm not living in the rainforest, but it shows that we individuals, we have much more power than we think. And we can do a lot of things ourselves. Like these women in India, in the Sun State, without any education, they brought back a complete rainforest.
And they'll reap the benefits of that. That's the beauty of it. So beautiful. So the Yielding Warrior. So he was actually a guest on my meditation podcast. So you can go in and I'll give the link to it actually. And as far as I know, the book is just, you just pay for the postage. It's like $10 and it's delivered to you. And very enjoyable book. It's is a personal development book that blends principles from meditative arts with practical life strategies. The central theme is the concept of yielding, not as weakness, but as a powerful ancient technique for navigating both internal and external challenges. He's an expert in meditative arts, guides readers to apply these principles beyond martial arts, making them relevant for anybody seeking growth in today's busy and stressful world. Yielding means willing to give in, adapt, or be reflective instead of always resisting or insisting on your own way. For example, if you're having a disagreement and you decide to listen and adjust rather than argue, you are yielding. It's about being open, compliant, or even soft when the situation calls it, rather being rigid or stubborn. In everyday life, yielding can help you avoid unnecessary conflict and find better solutions by working with others or with circumstances instead of fighting against them. Personal transformation and growth, his work such as the Yielding Warrior and the Big Things Effect focus on helping individuals unlock their true potential. His emphasis that transformation is possible for anybody willing to engage in self-discovery and internal change. So that's the book. I mean, it's shown on the thing anyway, but I have it here like, I'll give an example. There's a few things, but I just read just this one little paragraph. Yielding and the mind. Your brain is a physical organ. It produces electrical signals at various different frequencies. It has measurable volume and mass, but the mind is more elusive. It is difficult to define. Often we visualize our mind as residing in our head. Yet it has been proven that our heart, stomach, muscles, and fascia all have the ability to remember. Athletes rely on this phenomenon, calling it muscle memory. It seems likely that thinking of the mind as residing in our head is too narrow a view of the mind. Rather, it is likely that your mind resides in your entire body. So there's a lot of lovely stories in the book. So it's just an enjoyable read. And I think it was like $10. I'll give the link for the thing, but it's one of them books that you can actually just read and relax, and it's like with meditation, things like that. He gets some beautiful stories there. So I'd highly recommend it.
Nice, very nice. And to close on things, and that's what we're trying to do with this show. I heard someone mention this quote this week in another podcast. I tried to find the source, but there was no source or nothing I could find. But I love the quote, and I think it should be a guideline for all of us, is never attack the darkness, always amplify the light.
Are we talking about the bulbs again, Arnold? Or the Stefan, sorry.
But it's not only that. I'm really, really, really struck by that initiative from that Walton lady. Yeah. It's like, don't attack the dark because you're not going to win. And
They have unlimited resources. You create deals.
and they got the police and the military and everybody, so you're not going to win. So create something else, create something new, which is better than the old. So I love this thing. Never attack the darkness, always amplify the light.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that's it. I mean, as you see, we Istvan mentioned about how you can help the show. For those watching on BitChute, YouTube, and Rumble, there's the graphic which you can scan the QR code, buy us a coffee, buy us an orange juice, buy us a beer, whatever. Just that small little donation monthly. You can set it up monthly and all some of the options that can just do it. Really helps us. As he mentioned, that we spend a lot of time on this. We're looking. It's probably more because we're actually looking at loads of stuff, and then we're extracting better stuff, and then sometimes we have to decipher, hey, is this true or not? There's a lot of stuff that I come across and I go, oh, this is interesting, and it's not adding up. And sometimes it might be true, but I don't want to put it out there unless we're kind of sure. So there's a load of research involved. So go to awakeningpodcast.org support, and yeah, just $5, whatever. It would really help, and we'd appreciate it. So until next week. Well, make sure you give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating, and even subscribe. It helps a lot. Take care.